that I am live. Welcome, everyone, and thank you so much for watching. This is my first time trying out this live stream system. So, full disclaimer: if I make a mistake, if I say something wrong, or the sound is not working, bear with me as I get through this. What is going to be the topic in today's live? It's going to be we're going to have a discussion about how to make it easy for you and for your hired front desk to succeed as a dental startup. And I'm really excited for this topic because I know from personal experience and having worked in the industry for with hundreds of dentists that it is a challenging place to be in as a first-time business owner, and making that first hire and making that first person last with you. And so, what I want to have you walk away from this live or this training today is some tips and strategies to help you navigate this thing. And as you're joining me, and I see a Facebook user here saying hello. So, whoever you are, hi. Don't just if you can tell me your name and just tell me or write in the comments if you can hear me. Okay, if you can hear me, just let me know, so that I know that I am not speaking for myself. As so, let me know. Full disclaimer again: English is my second language. For those of you who are new to my network, and a lot of times I want to say something and I may mispronounce it, and I'm not really great with technology. So bear with me as I navigate learning these things. But I do have a lot of love for dentistry, love for people that are getting started and being first time business owners, and also their employees, because I've been an employee and I've also am a new business owner. And so I totally relate to everyone involved in a dental practice. And so, to jump right into this, and I'm going to be sharing a little bit of the tips that I want to share with you in this live. The biggest issue for me, and the reason why I was inspired to do this live, is because a lot of dentists who are launching their first dental practices are finding themselves so overwhelmed and so stressed out during the first couple of weeks, if not months, that they scare away the first person that they hire, or they are in a position where they are so stressed out and they want to hire someone with experience, and they fail to look into the hidden um, things that can potentially bite them later on and not make this relationship last. So I want to start off by sharing with you guys the based on a book that I read recently called Wherever You Go, There You Are. And in that book, there was a parable of the king, and a king that had three sons. And the sons, where he was dying, he was already in his deathbed, and he told the kids, "You have to get me water from the water of life. I need you to go and get me water from the water of life." And one of the things that the three sons did, the first one head out to get the father, to save the father, and to be able to earn his goodwill. He set out to just go and make sure that he's the one that gets all the credit. So on the way, the story goes, he goes off and he fails and he just disappears from nowhere because he couldn't find the water of life for his father. Then the second son set out to go out there, and he was so ambitious and he was so stubborn. He had a dwarf along the way stop him and say, "Hey, where are you going?" And he was like, "Well, I'm going to get I need the I need to get to the water of life, so to save my father and get his goodwill, so I don't have time for you." And he set off, and off he went to get the water of life. And as the story goes in the book, it's a parable. He was lost and never was able to return, didn't find the water of life. The third son of the king that set out to go out and try to save his father, he went off and he was lost. He didn't know what he was doing, and the dwarf stopped him. And the dwarf stopped him, and he said, "Listen, where are you going?" and the kid said, I'm going to get the water of life from my father, but I don't know how to get it. I've never done this before. Can you help? And the dwarf said, I know where that is. And so he gave him instructions on how to get to the water of life. The one son that was humbled enough to get help and ask for help was the one that was able to go there and get it. So the moral of the story, and the reason why I'm sharing this with you, and I have another Facebook user here that says, hi, Maritza. Hello, how are you? Are you guys able to hear me okay? Because this is very nerve-wracking for me, to be completely honest. And using technology is not one of my strengths. So just say I can hear you in the comments if you can hear me, please. And thank you for saying hello. So yes, we can hear you. Awesome. You want to tell me your name on the comments? Is this Sylvia? Probably Sylvia, my number one fan. So let's jump in and talk about the first tip that I have for you today. If you are a first-time practice owner, dentist, whether you're doing a startup or if you are doing an acquisition, if you're a first-time business owner, you're going to want to understand how to make the person that you hire, your first hire, last. And let's be completely fair and real. We are messy when we are first-time business owners and we're scattered. And so the very first tip that I have for you, and I'm going to see if I can share my screen with all of you right now. Again, this is a new software that I'm using. It says private chat, comments, present. Let's see. Slides. There's no slides, Google Slides. Interesting. Let's go and see. Okay, never mind. Can do this. So the first thing that I want to share, I have my backup here because I figured if I can't do this, I'm going to write here. So tip number one, you're going to show, this is, I'm writing it right here. So tip number one, conviction and vulnerability. Okay, so the first tip and the first thing that I want to share with you is as a first-time business owner and dentist who is doing a startup practice, conviction and vulnerability is the first thing that you want to learn to do. What does conviction mean? Conviction means you know where you're going. The parable that I just shared with you talks about the person that is dying and you need to be saved and you need to go to the water of life and you set out to go in a journey. You know, as a first-time business owner, where you're going. You just simply don't know how to get there. And so by having conviction, when you hire a person that is your first employee, they need to know where the business is going, where you as the owner see the business going. And you need to have conviction to the business model that you're trying to incorporate and also the outcome that you want to see from your business. The reason why I think this is so important is because I have seen dentists who set out to start their own offices. They hire the first employee. They have a business model or a vision for a business model that may be very insurance driven or maybe not. They may be a little reluctant, or they know that they have a specific service that they provide. They're open their locations in an area where they are able to serve a certain group, and they've done their homework. They know the kind of dentistry that they provide. They know that the community has a disposable income for that. It's just a matter of time. They hire someone that has experience and they have experience in a different model practice, or they have too much experience of one thing in one place. And I see this happen all the time. I had a dentist not too long ago who hired her front desk, and we had the strategy for the business model that the doctor envisioned. We followed the process that we follow for all of our clients, and she was very happy with the results. She went off to hire a person with experience because she felt that that would be adding value to her as the owner. And that person came into the picture imposing and saying, well, you should do this or you should do that, instead of creating alignment between the doctor's vision and making it work for the business and helping her carry out her desired vision for the practice. She created a situation where we recorded this. I interviewed the doctor. She signed her up for an insurance company independently. And the way that we found out was because that particular insurance that was linked to another insurance company had affected, like, one low fee schedule was following four different insurances. And when I had the initial training with her, as part of, our work together, she said, well, I have experience and I've done credentialing before. Having experience in a certain way or in a certain business model prior to the one that you were hired to perform is not ideal. So by having conviction, I mean, you have to tell your first person, your first hire, this is what I see my business perform. I want a PPO practice. This is the strategy that I use to enroll with insurance companies. If we're going to see patients as out of network, this is how we're going to handle those patients. Can you help me with this? So that's having that conviction, letting them know that you know the reasons why you made certain decisions for your business. And the second component of this first tip is vulnerability. We don't know what we don't know. And when we start off being first-time business owners, we're scattered. We are messy. We are developing systems as we go. And that can get scary for a new hire. I've been there. We are concerned as employees about making mistakes that will cost the office money and potentially losing our jobs. And we're always on the lookout for other possibilities or a place where it's more established. And so by having the vulnerability component, I did tell you English is my second language. By having that vulnerability component to it, you have conviction, you know where you're going, you have a clear vision for the business model that you want, you have your personal mission. It could be, I'm the first business owner in my family, I have this dream, your personal pull, your personal why. That's getting them morally committed to your story. And that's an important component to it. As a startup, you want the people that you first hire to trust you and to trust that you have the conviction of knowing where you're going, but that you have a strong enough reason to pull you through all the obstacles to get you there. So that's one component of it. And the other one is being vulnerable about that, because at the end of the day, they are going to sense that you are not ready or that you are scattered. We cannot, we cannot not show that when we're first time business owners. We're doing something new. We're going to fall, we're going to make mistakes, and we're going to learn as we go. So what I typically tell my doctors, and I have seen work, and what I personally am incorporating with my team, is to be very open and vulnerable about my strengths and my limitations. I need to work on this. This is what I'm working on. But together, if you help me do this, and I'm working on developing this skill, as we're developing the systems to get our business to the next level, then we're going to be able to have a win-win situation for everyone. They need to know that you have the conviction, you have a plan. You just need to get the guidance, and you need the time, and you need their commitment to help you get there faster. So that vulnerability pays off. If you are pretending that you know what you don't know, they're going to feed off of your energy, which is contagious, and they're going to be able to read through it and start looking for a job where at least is more established. So how do you prevent that? So the way that you're going to help navigate that is by having systems in place, which is tip number 2. Creating systems. So one of the things that I love about what I do is that over the years that I've been doing this and hiring people and training inexperienced dental front desk personnel, we've developed a lot of systems and checklists and scripts and templates for our front desk people to follow through. We have our doctors, and we create an onboarding calendar for them, where one of my most recent doctors, Dr. Linda, she opened her office in January. We had, like, before this person was hired, a month before, an entire schedule for them for the types of trainings that they needed to have as far as software, the insurances that they were participating or not, the pricing. You don't know how many offices I've been to that are startups, and the doctors have not taken the time to have a discussion about what are their rates privately for when a patient calls, or they will have mailers go out prior to this first startup person being hired. And the person comes in, they start working for the dental office, and a patient shows up with a mailer with a, with a discount promotion, and they quote them $150 for the initial visit, and they're like, well, I have a $90 special in my hand. What's going on? The communication and having the systems, the checklists prior to you being open, creating that onboarding schedule where you are tackling down and creating the map for this new person when they come in, so that they understand this is what it takes. And I just put it into small bite-sized chunks that are digestible for me to be able to do this. So earlier today, I had a session with a new hired. This new hired had no dental experience, and she knows the software that the office is going to be working with. We finished the insurance contracting and negotiation process. We share with them all the centralized. If you didn't watch our live from last week, I will encourage you to do so, because we walked. I spoke about the different tips and steps that you should follow as a startup for insurance negotiation and credentialing as a startup. And so this individual now, it's getting ready to go into the practice, set up the software, start onboarding patients, reaching out to the insurance companies and creating portals for them, the insurance coordination piece. And the worst thing that you want to do as a business owner is throw someone into the battlefield where they're jeopardizing building connections and relationships for your patients on behalf of your practice, because you haven't taken the time to nurture them and equip them with the tools and strategies that they need to know, and the systems for them to prioritize. So when they have these checklists, these scripts, these best practices, they feel empowered, they feel confident, they feel like this dentist, although we're new, it's a blank, Canva, and we're painting the picture, but we have a guide. We have kind of the mock-up, and we're just replicating it. You have a roadmap. What you don't know, you don't know. And get questions all the time from doctors that are doing things independently or working somewhere else, and they're like, what's a clearinghouse, or what is this? If you don't know this yourself and you haven't learned this yourself, imagine someone that is new to the field. And what I want to do, one of my biggest passion, is to incorporate people that are from a different industry into the dental industry. Dentistry saved my life. I came to America. When I was 12 years old, at 14 years old, I was working in a supermarket, and I was given the opportunity to work in a dental office. I started literally just didn't know anything, and I have done so many things, and now I'm creating jobs. Now I am onboarding and hiring people for offices that don't have dental experience, and I'm able to create a win-win where the dentist is saving by hiring someone at a lower rate, and they're able to add value to that person by training them on something new. They're saving money, they're empowering somebody new. Individual development and growth and collective growth. That's what I stand for. That's what I love. And it bothers me when I work with dentists that act like the second or the first child that the king had. If you are just joining me now, I gave the parable of the king that was dying, and he set out to send his three children to get the water of life to save him. And the one kid who was obnoxious, and he just went off, and he, with his pride, and got lost because he didn't know where he was going. He just took off without turning to the sides. The second one was stopped and given the opportunity to have a conversation, but he was too busy being busy doing nothing, set off thinking that he knew where he was going, and he got lost too. And then the third child of the king that set out, he actually was vulnerable and said, I don't know where I'm going. Where is the water of life, right? And the dwarf who stopped them, and according to the book, which I would highly recommend some of you read, this is part of our psyche, how we function, how, like the based on the story, the dwarfs and the witches in the stories, they have a role. They are there to teach us something. There are guides, or the monsters or the obstacles that we have to overcome. So all of these fairy tales are supposed to be like reading our psyche or something. This is why I'm sharing it. But what I'm trying to say, the analogy that I'm trying to say here, is to be like the third child from the king, that if you don't have the answers, don't pretend or assume that you do. Stop, and when someone is offering you help, take it, which is the third step, or tip, I should say. I was going to share my slides, but again, I couldn't figure it out. So, but I have my notes here. It's to get help, right? Is to do things to help you and to show your team that you are clear going, you are vulnerable, and you understand that there are certain things about running a dental office for the first time, or being a first time business owner, that you simply just don't understand, and coming into terms to get them morally committed to following your vision, but ultimately understanding that when they need help, that you have a backup plan, and that you have the resources and are willing to invest in putting the resources available to them to make it win for them. Because if they are learning and benefiting from you, you benefit as well. Okay. And so for me, just based on my personal story, when I was when I was promoted from dental assistant to front desk in 2004, I wasn't giving a lot of training. I was just basically giving the list of insurance companies, and I had a personality, which is one of the things that I teach my doctors. Your first hire needs to be coachable, committed, and competent, right? Sometimes, as you have to put the mask on yourself first and do your due diligence and have systems in place for recruiting and onboarding the employee, because you're setting the standard. If you are hiring out of the blue and you're just meeting with them and having random questions, and you don't seem to be prepared, and you open your doors for your practice and you don't have systems and don't seem to be prepared, and you're scattered, you're going to lose their attention. They're going to go get someone who is collected. We are drawn to people who have confidence in what they're doing. And the worst thing that we can do is be confident without the knowledge, because people will perceive that. And or being a person that doesn't that it's scattered and is not looking for the resources to help us get us into the path to where we are going. So to recap on today's live, and I see that more people are joining me now, and I suck at doing this thing that everybody talks about, like you're supposed to be engaging with people. How do you engage? Like if I try to engage, I forget what I'm going to say. So leave stuff in the comments, I suppose. I don't know. This is new. Technology is not my thing. I am like a bull, so I'm going to go straight into the topic, because otherwise I will forget. But I appreciate very much that you've taken the time to consider watching this video, and I do hope that it has helped you. One of the calls to action is, if you are a dentist who is doing a startup and you want to have guidance and help with setting up your office and accelerating your growth, both individually and collectively, and you want someone to mentor you and mentor your team that's been there and done it, I would urge you to schedule a discovery call with me. I would be so honored to help you and support you in your journey, both as a former office manager, front desk, dental assistant, now startup business owner. And so I look forward to working with you and sharing my experiences developing and growing my company, and throwing all of the pearls and tips and tools that I've picked up over the 20 years that I've had working as an employee in the field of dentistry, to empower and motivate and inspire your team, so that you can make it a win-win for both of you. So thank you so much for watching. I am going to end the broadcast today, and leave your comments below. Give it a thumbs up if you like this video. And I will see you next week. I am keeping myself a promise to show up live, and I will be improving on the technology and on things. So just, again, bear with me and let me know if there's any topic of interest that you want to discuss. I will be releasing the topic for next week's live. And last week we spoke about the steps that you should follow to get the best reimbursement as a dental startup for the insurance companies in your practice. Thank you so much for watching. Until next week. Bye-bye.